right, hello everyone. Today we're going to draw this adorable little turtle. It's really quite simple. It's more easy than you would think by looking at it. You're going to need a piece of paper, a pencil, eraser, possibly a Sharpie, and something to color with. I used a combination of crayons and markers. You can use either one, or again, you could use a combination like I did. So let's get our supplies together and get started. Okay, so starting out, we're going to fold our paper in half twice. I'm folding it side to side like a book and making a nice crease. Then I'm going to fold it in half again, keeping the first fold folded. Again, I make a nice crease. Then I open it back up and flatten it back out. Alright, and we do that because that divides our paper up into 4 equal sections. It also helps us see where the middle is from top to bottom and the middle from side to side. And that helps you place things on the correct place on the paper, and it helps you get them the correct size. Alright, notice my paper is going side to side. It's where it's short and chubby. And I'm going to start out in this section right here. Kind of close to the middle, but not too close. I'm going to draw a circle, and that is going to be my little turtle's eye. Notice how I did it kind of light and sketchy, and then when I'm happy with it, I can go back over it and make it a little darker. All right, then I'm going to make a line starting from almost the top middle. This would be the top middle right here, but it's over to the left just a smidge. And I'm going to make a line that curves over and down. It comes really close to the line, but not too close. Then I'm going to make a line that goes this way, and it just does a little bit of a wave. Not too much. I need it to come over just a wee bit further. And then at the bottom of the eye, again, the middle would be right about here, but it's over here, and I'm going to make a line that comes down. All right? Okay, next, I am going to make, this is going to be part of his mouth on my turtle. So I'm going to make a line that comes down just a bit, and then it curves down and back this way. All right? And again, notice how I do it kind of sketchy so I can get it the way I like it. And then I'm going to come over here and do part of his shell. The line's going to come up here. Notice that's from his eye to that fold. And then it kind of comes, it's going to come out to about here. And so I'm going to kind of make the line continue. It hits that point and comes down with a curve. Okay, then now I'm in this section, and it comes down and over to the right a bit, and I'm curving back up. It kind of comes in and up, and it's going to eventually connect with this line. All right. Okay, now we're going to do, this was what we just did, was the basic shape of his shell, but we are going to make the section that's kind of next to it or underneath it. So I'm on this section right here, starting right about here, and I'm making what I call a copycat line. It comes down and around, and it's copycatting this line. So it's following along next to it like a little brother or sister, and kind of copying it until it gets right about here, and then it's going to turn and just go up. And again, that will be part of his shell. Now I need to make the neck. I'm going to make a line. If you look at this line, that's from his mouth, and I want this to turn up just a little more. So I'm just fixing that real quick. Alright, so now I'm going to make a line that starts right about here on his mouth, almost the middle, maybe a little farther over to the left, and it's going to curve, and it's going to come down to about this area where that copycat line is. And again, I make it sketchy because I can get it the way I want it, and then when I'm happy with it, I can draw over the parts that I like. All right, now I'm going to draw the eye on the other side of his head. It's going to be right around this area, and it's just it's a portion of a circle right there. You see it just kind of peeking out. All right, we're doing pretty good so far. All right, can't wait to see yours. Okay, so now I'm going to come down over here, and we're going to draw his little foot coming out. Right here where the neck and the shell meet is where the first line for his foot is going to come down. And then I'm going to have a little portion of it over here. And notice how that one curves a little more than that one did. And then I have his little kind of webbed toes. I have 1, 2, 3, and then it kind of merges with this one. All right, then I'm going to do one over here. This one looks like it's coming right out of his neck, and it's just because the neck's overlapping it. And I have a little bit of a curved line here and here. And then again, his little webbed toes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so there's his 2 feet. Now we're going to come back over here and do his back foot. All right, so right where this under part of the shell was, it's going to start right about here, and it's going to curve down, and then it has a little friend line over here. Okay, notice this line is quite a bit shorter than that one, and this one is going to make kind of a sharp turn here, because that's going to become part of one of his little webbed toes. And it just transitions into another one here, and another one here, and then finally there's one here as well. All right, so that's his back leg. You're not going to see the 4th one because his shell and his body is in the way. And then I'm going to make a little tail. The tail lives right here, kind of in where the shell and the leg meet. So I have a little line that comes up like that, and another one over here, and that is his little tail. All right, now we need to add a few little details. On his nose, we're going to make 2 little lines, because that is how he breathes. In his eye, I'm going to make a half circle, and then another half circle, and then I could even make like a little reflection spot. And then you see a little bit of it on this side too. It's not a lot. It's just enough. And then we have the spots on his shell. I'm going to start off with a spot right here. And it's kind of like the shape almost like of a stone or something. And then I have another little one over here. You see just portions of spots over here. A little more of this one. And then over here, because we're closer to this part of his shell, you see quite a bit more of the spots. Remember, things closer to you look bigger, things farther away look smaller. And another one here. Oh my goodness, he's so adorable. And there is our turtle. We'll also make the ground. Remember, that's the horizon line. That's where the sky and the ground touch. So everything from this line down will be the ground, and everything from this line up will be the sky. All right, so next we're gonna go over everything with a Sharpie. Okay, so I have my black Sharpie, and I'm going to trace over all of my pencil lines. If you don't have a black Sharpie, you could use a regular black marker. You could also use a black crayon. Okay, and I'm going to trace over every single thing I drew in pencil because the marker looks better than the pencil. It's bolder and it's darker, and it just makes your picture look better, especially if you're coloring it or painting it. All right, so I am going to fast forward to finish my Sharpie. You probably need to hit pause to finish your Sharpie, and then we'll meet back here to finish up our turtle. Okay, so I traced over everything with my Sharpie. Now I'm going to take an eraser and I'm going to erase any pencil I can still see. Remember, if you chose to use a black crayon, that's totally fine. Just be careful with the erasing. In fact, you may want to skip the erasing completely because you don't want to smear your crayon. But I'll leave that up to you because you know what you're left with, and I just accidentally threw my eraser. Luckily I have a backup here before I go pick mine up. And then that way all you see is your Sharpie and no pencil. I always tell the kids here in the building that you should be able to trick someone into thinking you drew with the Sharpie in the first place and you never even used pencil. That's how much the pencil should disappear. All right, now next we are going to color. You can use crayons, markers, and colored pencils. I am going to use probably a little bit of both. I've got my green here for my turtle. I'm also going to get some different shades of green here, because again, the more shades you use, the better. I have a lighter green, I have a darker green, I even have like a lime green, I have my green marker. I need something for my sky. I think I'm going to use this blue-green for my sky just to make it a little more interesting. And then I need something for the ground. I'm trying to decide. Maybe I'll do a combination of a brown marker in 2 different shades and a brown crayon to kind of mix it up a little bit, make it more interesting, okay? So I'm going to start off with a lighter green. This is a yellow green, and I am going to use this green to color my turtle's spots. Now you could color real soft with your crayon if you want, or you could push down a little harder. If you push down harder with your crayon, it makes the color brighter and it will make it look bolder. So that just kind of depends on what the look is that you're going for with your turtle. But remember, pay attention to the directions that you're coloring. The direction should make sense. It shouldn't be in a gazillion different directions because then that makes your paper look messy. And you want to fill in the white space, and you don't want to color too fast. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward to finish coloring his spots. And if you're coloring the spots right now, you can hit pause. Okay, so you can see I colored his lighter green spots on his shell, and then I'm going to do the rest of the space on his shell with my green marker. And this is just kind of your traditional green, your Crayola green. I don't think it has a name or anything on this one. Actually does, leprechaun green. Now if you had more than one shade of green marker, that would be awesome. Like if I would have had a lime green marker, I probably would have used that for the spots, but I didn't. But it never hurts to do a combination of marker, crayon, and even colored pencil, because it gives a different texture and a different look to your picture, and it just makes it a little more interesting. Okay, so I'm going to color the rest of his shell with this leprechaun green marker. And I'm going to fast forward. Again, you probably want to hit pause and finish coloring yours. And I'll see you in just a second. Okay, so there's his shell. Now I'm going to color his eyes. I am going to, for this part I did with my black Sharpie. For this, I'm going to do brown for his eyes. I don't know if turtles have brown eyes or not, but my turtle's going to have brown eyes. You can make yours any color you want. And then, oops, I'm going to leave this portion of his eye white. Then I'm going to take a green crayon. This is just green, just plain old-fashioned green. And I'm going to use that to color his head and his neck and his legs. And I'm going to color that. You know, I pressed down kind of hard when I did the spots, but for this, I'm going to color a little softer. But again, especially when you're coloring soft, it's very important to, one, pay attention to the directions you're coloring. Don't change the directions over and over. And two, color nice and neat. Slow down. Be sure you fill up that white space. You shouldn't have a bunch of white spots when you're done. Okay, so I am going to fast forward to finish coloring my little friend here. You can hit pause and finish coloring too. Okay, so as you can see, I finished coloring my little turtle friend. And now for the ground, I'm going to pretend that it's dirt. Normally I would do grass, but since he is so green, I figured there'd be a lot of green, and I didn't want him to be too camouflaged. But as you can see here, I'm just making some kind of random, slightly wiggly lines to just add some interest instead of just having it be solid brown kind of blah. I'm just trying to make it look a little more interesting, like it has a little bit of texture, a little bit of something's going on here. Because you know, even if you go out and you look at a patch of dirt in your yard, it's not just a flat, boring brown. It has some texture to it. It has some, you know, where you can tell things have touched it and moved it, and maybe there's rocks in it, stuff like that. Speaking of rocks, I'm gonna make a few little rocks. I'm gonna pretend like there's some little just kind of pebbles and boulders and things here and there, just to again kind of mix it up a little, but not too much. Don't go crazy cuckoo with it. And then I'm going to color it with my brown for the rest of the space. And the good news is I can just go right over those lines, right over those little pebbles, but don't go over your turtle. Be sure you color around him. And notice how I'm coloring really soft, and I'm following the direction that I did with those lines, because it really wouldn't make much sense to be going in a different direction all of a sudden. Alright, so I am going to fast forward to finish coloring the dirt. You can hit pause to finish coloring your dirt, and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, so now the only thing left is the sky. I chose a blue-green for my sky. You can choose any color for your sky. Remember, it doesn't even have to be blue. You could pretend it's a sunset. You could pretend it's a sunrise. You could pretend it's another planet. Maybe they have a purple sky or an orange sky. You could pretend it's nighttime. Although I don't think turtles are nocturnal, but you never know. I'm not exactly a marine biologist or anything, or anything like that. I am just an art teacher. And again, notice I'm coloring kind of soft. No reason to, unless, I mean, of course, if you want to press down hard with your crayon, you can. You don't have to. I never recommend doing huge spaces with your markers because they tend to dry out. And there, ta-da, is my turtle picture, and he's so cute. I love him. I think it turned out great. I would love to see yours. Be sure you take a picture and send it to me. You can send it to my email, or you can use that form on my website. And like I said, I can't wait to see you. Thanks for coming.